From the world of AV programming and control with James King, I'm Steve Greenblatt, and this is Ask the Programmer. Hey, James, it's great to be back with you. How are you today?
I'm good, Steve, and yourself?
I'm doing well. I'm excited again. If you didn't catch our last episode, 144, we caught up with Rich Miller and George Chaco from Pace University, also known as the Bald AV guys, and we talked a little bit about their recent event, the AV Summit at Pace University, and we're pleased today to not only have them join us again, and they're getting to be regulars here, but we also were able to welcome one of their students, Cece Porter. Welcome, Cece.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here.
Thanks for being with us. And Rich, George, welcome back for another episode where we'll get to talk a little bit more about your event. And now we're going to take it a little bit more from a student perspective.
Thank you for having us back. Anything that can take me away from my day job, I'm good.
And if you get one, you get the other. We learned that from the last episode.
That's
so
right.
Yep. Package deal. Happy to be back.
So the last episode, we talked a lot about James started it off, about the ideas that really planted the seeds for the AV Summit. And it was a really cool event. I was in attendance, and if you didn't listen to our past episode, please do. But what we did was we finally George and Rich put their money where their mouth is, and we actually had the opportunity to bring people together, not only AV members of the AV industry that are currently working and in the community, but also their students, and Cece's one of them, and also potential future students. So Cece, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about what it was like to be in the room with all of the folks. And you were on one of the panels, and thank you for doing that. And for us, I always look at it as we can both learn together. We get to learn from you, and you get to learn from us. So tell us a little bit about what your experience was like.
Absolutely. So I was very excited to be on the panel. I was a little nervous, but it was a really great opportunity. I really enjoyed. I accidentally got into this AV class. I was registering for classes, and I saw this intro to AV, and I was like, this looks cool. Let me take this class. And so I joined it. And then I met Rich and George, and from there, I was never able to leave. Yeah, so I really enjoyed the class, and from there we had the idea to start an AV club here at Pace. I've done AV before in high school, but I never knew that it could actually be a job. I never really thought about it, that it could be kind of like a career, and that the field is so huge and so many people don't know that. So it was really awesome to learn about that, and I fell in love with it, and ever since then I've been doing AV. And as for the panel, I really loved the Women in AV panel. That was great. As for being on the panel, it was awesome to kind of just talk to these students more of in an informal way, where they're high school students. A lot of them don't know what they want to do yet. And I was in that boat only a few years ago, and kind of to be able to give them advice and to help them understand what AV is. I feel like it was a great opportunity for them to learn about the industry, and it's something that not a lot of people, especially high schoolers, don't know about. So yeah.
That's fantastic. To me, I think that it was really great to get to hear from everybody's perspective, because a lot of times when you're in it, you don't really know what others are looking to learn more about. And we have a lot that we could share. We just need to be guided. So thank you for that. Rich, what have you heard from others in terms of their experience, in the class, and what were some of the other comments and feedback that you received?
Yeah, so the biggest thing so far, from the event itself, I was getting texts during the event saying how the panels were dynamic, how the keynote was amazing, how the students, I was just chatting with other high school students, and there was a connection there. Obviously, like Cece mentioned, Cece was in their shoes a few years ago. Now they're kind of trying to figure out where they want to go. Some of them actually knew somebody on the panel because it was her high school previously. So there was a lot of different connections there, a lot of different webs that like kind of intertwined, which was fantastic. And then overall, from a general class perspective, like just taking a quick tangent, I think we have about 5 or 6 students from our original class that CC was in that are now taking our new class next semester. So I think the building block that we've created with that initial 165 class, 3 of which were from the panel that CC was on, and then 2 of which are in the current class, and one of them is also coming forward to the other class. So we're getting some repeats, which is great. Obviously, CC is one of our rock stars, and we hope that she sticks around in the industry, and we're doing our best to support her. And we're happy to have her on board in any capacity, especially as leading the AV Tech Club, as she alluded to a little earlier.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to say about CC, the first time we took notice of her was back in early in the spring. ETC hosted a regional event in the Pace downtown campus, and CC was so excited. She was like, "Hey, I want to be at this show. I have to find out from my professors." So she spoke to her professors, took the day off from classes, came down to New York City. And unlike other students who would have used that opportunity to go frolic in the city, she actually came and stayed throughout the event. You know what I mean? Like, and I was honestly, she doesn't know this, but I was so happy with her. Just so overwhelmed. It's really wonderful to see. And it's what she said is like, she took this one class and she fell in love with AV. Isn't that all our stories? Isn't that like, you know what I mean? You don't know what you're doing. You get into it. You're like, oh my God, this is what I've wanted to do all my life. And so without her realizing, connecting with her on that level was very special to me. And the fact, like Rich said, out of 40 kids, if 5 or 6 kids are taking the next level and are interested in talking to us about getting that major, then it's working. We're doing something right. It's enough juice for us to keep going on this. So
and if CC's one of the first to actually choose AV instead of falling into it, right? I think that's the way we're looking at it. We're trying to get students like her to choose it and not just have to fall into it. I'd be like, yeah, I want to do this as a career path, or in some aspects have AV be part of my future. So
yeah. When people always mention to me, they're like, oh, like when I graduated high school, it's like, what do you want to do with your life? I'm like, oh, I don't know. But now when people ask me, now I know. It's funny that you mentioned that first event, because that was like when I actually decided. I was like, wow, I really do love AV. And I was really excited to go. I talked to my professors. I was like, please let me skip class. And they were like, okay. And that event itself was really awesome as well. They talked about like AV and higher education, and it was super informative and just like very fun to meet people in the industry, and kind of I made some connections with people. It was really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't realize it, but she sat at a table with Britt and Jen and Chris Neto, and it was a big deal table. I don't think she realized it at the time, but
I was at the table too, George.
Well,
you didn't mention me.
I was talking about the important people.
Yeah, fair. Touche.
I don't know if they've mentioned it to you yet, but once you get into the AV industry, you don't get out, but that's a good
I've
thing.
heard that.
And there's people to prove it, because I was just recently at an event with Tom LeBlanc, who's now the director of NSCA, and he was before that the editor of Commercial Integrator magazine. And he said to me, "Do you know that I left the industry for a little while?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, I came back."
Yep.
But there are very few people who leave and don't come back unless they really didn't belong here in the first place.
Yeah. And for all those listening, if you're looking for a really, really motivated, high energy, goal-oriented student, CC Porter, she has plenty of AV background already, more than I had when I was in her age.
Same.
Probably even now, to be honest with you, but
you said it.
Oh, I thought it. I didn't realize I said it aloud.
James, any tips that you have for CC in terms of helping her to build her career and pursue opportunities in the industry?
I think she's doing a great job as is. My own suggestion, which I think she's probably already doing, is get out there. As George mentioned, that event that you were at a table of a lot of let's say influencers in the AV field. Like you have Chris Neto, Jen Weaver, if I was
Yep,
correct. Like
Weaver was
those
there.
are two great people to connect with, and they're gonna basically be a spoke wheel for you and put you in connection with other people. And I'm sure there's other people at that table who would do the same thing. I started doing that when I got in AV. I broke out. I talk with Steve. I go and talk with George and Rich at events. Like I get out of my little shell and talk to people I normally wouldn't talk to. And now that springboards to other opportunities of other people you can connect with and make those connections. So that would be my only suggestion if you're not already doing it, but it sounds like you're already on the right path.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting to that point where I'm not as I used to be like when I started the integral class in the spring, I was very like shy. I would sit at the back of the class, like I wouldn't really talk. So now that I'm like president of AV Club, it's very like I've been spreading the word all throughout Pace. I tell everybody I see, I'm like, join. Like, even if you're not interested in AV, even if you want to learn a little bit about it, not even as a career path, but as like a side passion, a side project, anything, I tell everybody, I'm like, you have to join. It's so fun. And it's really broadened my horizons as like not even through loving AV, but also like as a person.
Wow.
I
That-
actually want to know more about that AV Club. One, being a president of AV Club is awesome. Congrats. But what does the club actually do? What's like if I pitch it to me, I'm a new student, I hear about sell it on me. Sell me on
Oh, I've been working on this pitch. Okay. So we just recently started the club. So we're still kind of getting off the ground, getting a bunch of members. But essentially the goal of the club is to kind of make it like the intro to AV class where we have educational workshops. We're going to have guest speakers, hands-on projects, and all different types of stuff to kind of introduce people to the world of AV. Especially not a lot of people know about it, which is something that we talk about a lot, where it's a like $400 billion industry and there's so many people that don't even know about it. So it's kind of like an intro level to learn about it, understand what it is. We were working towards in the classrooms, we have like Crestron panels and all different types of technology. So we want to kind of introduce people to what that technology is, what it does, how it works, and help them learn more about it.
And whoever wants to send us fun equipment to use in the AV Club, I know our friend Sharat sent us something cool from Jobber to kick things off. So shameless plug, and also at Pace AV Club, follow them
Oh
on
yes,
Instagram.
follow us on Instagram.
Follow at Pace AV Club. Yes. Also, they have really cool advisors. So just putting it out there.
You know.
Do they have
Shameless
cookies
plug.
at the meeting or anything?
We try to do free pizza, you know.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Just want to
yeah,
make
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, we can do cookies too. George and I are big cookie guys.
Yeah, the students might not get any
We need a sponsor. So everybody listening out there.
sponsors for the AV Club, tech, field trips, everything. Yes, it's. By the way, I just want to say, just listening to CC speak is like this proud moment for both Rich and me. I was smiling ear to ear. You're amazing, CC.
She's right though. Thinking back to last semester, this is all hindsight, obviously now, but you sat in the back of the class. You were one of our top students, but you were quiet, and you even said it on stage, right at the panel. You said a year ago at this time, I would have never been on a panel like this, and you were sitting in a room with almost 200 people. Like, how wild is that? And it's amazing. Like, yeah, we're super proud of you, and we're glad that you decided to take this journey with us.
I'm excited about it too. It's been a great experience.
I'll give you a little secret. And Brittany, who is on the Women in AV panel, is on my team, and she was nervous before too. So
Nice.
and
She did
I,
amazing as well.
I'm always there to give her moral support. So I was, but it's it never stops because nerves mean that you're excited about it and that it's something worth doing. So
Yeah,
Keeps
that's
us
how it was
honest.
before. Before the panel for me, I was so nervous. And then I get on stage and I'm like, wow, this isn't so bad.
and next thing you know, you'll be doing podcasts and speaking and everything. You just got to keep pushing yourself and and see what you can do to move a little bit out of your comfort zone, because that's where the growth is.
I think Cece suggested herself. I think Cece was the one that suggested that would be one of the workshops, was doing a podcast with the AV club. So
Yep. And the Bald AV guys are definitely going to be bringing the president of the AV Tech Club on their podcast next semester, of course.
So what year are you in your studies?
So I am a sophomore and I'm a
Oh, wow.
communications major.
Excellent. Excellent. So one of the things though, so I have, just as from a background standpoint, I got in the industry because I studied engineering, didn't necessarily know I was going to be in this industry. And now I've actually run a business. So it doesn't, even if you go into the industry, I started as a programmer but I don't program anymore, but I know all about it and I know all about AV, but the AV industry has afforded me the ability to learn to run a business. And so there's so many different aspects of it. I've learned sales, I've learned management, I've learned marketing, all centered around the AV industry. So even though I love the tech, I also like to put in a pitch for the fact that we don't have to only think of the AV industry as purely being hands-on tech. You can use the skills that are in the rest of the business world and just apply them to the AV industry. I guess before we wrap up, Cece, what would you like the industry to know about somebody in your shoes, and how do you think that we can better ourselves to get more people like you excited?
For somebody in my shoes, I would say kind of just discover what opportunities you have that can connect you to AV, even if necessarily like the AV major is not declared yet and you can't study it yet. Like you can still immerse yourself into AV technology through clubs, through classes, through people like Rich and George who know all about it. And if it's something that you think you're interested in, I would say totally kind of like look it up and research it and decide how you want to approach that, because it's a really awesome industry. The more I learn about it, the more I fall in love with it. So
I loved when you guys talked about AV in the wild too. Can you talk a little bit about that?
yeah, so I heard about this in the recent class. That it's funny, as an AV person, anytime I go anywhere now, like a concert or like a movie, you kind of look at all the tech. You look around and you're like, oh, this is so interesting. And so AV in the wild was a concept that was like created to kind of look at AV in outside sources, not necessarily like within schools, but like within other venues and other places that people would go in and wouldn't necessarily think about AV, but there's so many AV components that are incorporated into these places.
Absolutely.
Wait until you start picking those out and saying, well, I could have done that better. Because I still remember I was with my daughter and some of her friends from her soccer team. We were at Red Bull Arena for the women's national game friendly before they went off to the World Cup. And I'm looking at the LED screen along the second deck, and one panel was out. And it was bugging me. And I'm like, I gotta fix it. And my friend was like, can you just knock it off and watch the game? I'm like, but no, that panel's out. We gotta fix it.
yeah, we can't. We cannot knock that out. It's just built into us that way.
Yep.
Whether it's, oh, that screen's slightly tilted at a 15-degree angle, like we know the precise angle that it's tilted at too every time.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We
welcome to that world, CC.
We were definitely giving some constructive feedback to MetLife a couple weeks ago when we were there, right, George?
Yes, absolutely.
Getting rained on watching one of the worst Jet Giant games ever, but we were definitely checking out all the tech as well.
Yeah, the company was great. The game, not so much.
Correct. Although the Jets won, so.
Well, like I said,
I
the
give you
game, not
guys
so
credit
much.
for sitting through that. So
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's so amazing that you were able to join us, CC, and we all want to support your passion for the industry. I know that you can count on and so many people to help you. AV Tweeps is a great hashtag to follow in case they haven't told you that, and that's where a lot of us have met, quite honestly, even before we met in person, and we've all built relationships through that. So that's really the industry hashtag. But please let our listeners and audience know how to reach out to you if they want to help you out, or if you just want to ask you questions or continue the conversation.
Yep, definitely. So if you follow us on Pace at Pace AV Club on Instagram, you could definitely send a DM to us there. If you want to contact me by email, my Pace email is cp90067p@pace.edu. So feel free to always just send me an email. I answer pretty fast. So any questions you may have, any comments or anything, feel free to reach out to me.
Thank you for joining us and being on today. And we all applaud your progress. So keep it up.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Rich, how can people get in touch with you, learn more about PACE, support your program, and help other students like CC?
Yeah, it's rmiller@pace.edu is my email, at Bald AV Guys, and on all the socials. And you can find me on LinkedIn as Rich Miller. And yes, everybody, please follow at Pace AV Club on Instagram.
Excellent. And George, how can people get in touch with you, talk sports, coffee, whatever they want, and also keep up with what's going on at PACE?
Latest hairstyles. It's gchaco@pace.edu, socials at Bald AV Guys, and LinkedIn is George Chaco CTS, and CC Porter is an absolute rock star.
And we got to get
Cosign.
CC on all the socials. So please support her and follow her there. James, how can people get in touch with you, learn what you're up to?
First off, I want to thank CC and Rich and George for being on. CC, just know you're gonna probably blow up after this, your socials and all that stuff. So be prepared for that. It's a little crazy, but it's a good thing. You're doing great work. Keep it up. And for those who want to get a hold of me, you can Google me. You can find me. I'm on X at AV_James King, on LinkedIn, this podcast on the AV Live, HEPMA, anything with HEPMA, again, Google me, you'll find me.
This guy doesn't sleep, so just keep in touch with him. And quite honestly, James is another great success story. You know, it's only been a number of years he's been in the 40 under 40, and he's been he's really flourished, and it's all because he's applied himself and put himself out there. So it doesn't take anything but effort and desire. So just good testament to that. For me, you can reach me at Steve Greenblatt on social media. You could reach my company, Control Concepts, at controlconcepts.net. And what's most important to us is that you follow this podcast at AV Programmer Pod on Twitter or X. Also, you can watch us on YouTube. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast player. We'd appreciate a review, a rating. Let us know what you think. Share your favorite episode and help us grow our audience so that we can help you and cover all the topics and have more people on. So this is a great show, and we do have a special teaser after this. CC left us a few questions that we'll be answering in future show about programming and programmers. So please stay tuned to that, and this will give her also a reason to listen to our future shows. So that's it for now, and this has been Ask the Programmer.